First, I'll go over my setup. The weapons I'll be using in this video are the Twin Blades and Nameless Spear. You want to use the Twin Blades addled mind skill to stagger the boss to either prevent him from using either the Sandstorm in phase 2 or his jumping quick combos in phase 3. You can also use it to prevent him from summoning the clones if you are fast enough to attack the boss before he is able to get up to do the attack. But I also have another skill for that I will explain soon. The Nameless Spear is primarily going to be used for a quick burst of damage when the boss is exhausted. The mystic skills that I'll primarily be using are Drunken Poet and Meridian Touch. The Meridian Touch is not just good for phase 1, but it's good for all phases, especially phase 3. For inner way skills, just put whatever you have that makes sense for the build. Some examples are Invigorated Warrior is good since we won't be taking damage. Wildfire Spark is good for refining stamina when we need to use the spear's charging attack for DPS. Divine Roulette is good since we'll be deflecting a lot. And Bitter Seasons for poison damage and defense reduction. Those are the best that I have available right now for the build, but if you have any inner skills that would be better for the fight, then put them on in place of any of the 4 that I mentioned. Starting with phase 1 of the fight. This fight is the easiest phase and doesn't take too long to learn. When you first spawn in, be ready to dodge because the boss will sometimes attack immediately and you will need to act quick. You want to stay close to the boss to parry his melee combos. So make sure you practice the parry timings for his melee combos. On the boss's slower attacks, you can easily get 2 melee attacks in and still have time to parry his attack as shown here. When the boss's staff is glowing yellow and he spins and raises the staff in the air like this, keep attacking him and then be ready to use Meridian Touch when the prompt pops up to do damage and knock him down to the ground. You can combo with Drunken Poet punches to do more damage and also increase your range of attacks by punching towards the boss when you knock him down. During his force wipe staff attack, he will do 3 quick slashes with his staff and then 1 delayed slash at the end. During the delayed slash, you have time to hit him once and parry the attack. Keep up the pressure on the boss until he is staggered, and then switch to the Nameless Spear and cast both skills, and then hold the heavy attack key to spin the spear until there's almost no time left on the stagger gauge before you press it to deal extra damage to the boss. The boss should be dead if you kept up enough pressure on him. But if you have to do some extra damage to the boss, then just keep up the assault by staying close to him and continuing to deflect his attacks when he attacks back. In phase 2, we want to stay close enough to the boss so that we can walk up to him and block his attacks when he dashes to single kick or multi-kick combo us. At the start of the fight here, watch the boss to see what he's going to do. He usually does a single kick attack at the start where he dodges forward and then kicks you. And it's slow enough that you should be able to read and parry it without much trouble. You can get some attacks in if you're feeling confident, or you can slow it down and be safe by backing up immediately and waiting for his next attack. When the boss does this attack, you'll notice that he's sucking up energy. So focus on the energy, and once it disappears, there should be just a small delay before he starts attacking you. So you'll need to spam the parry button until he pushes you off to the side. At the end of his animation, he will slam the ground and do AoE damage. So make sure you aren't near there when he does that and just stay put at the distance that I am at, because this is a good distance to fight the boss safely and have an easy time parrying his attacks. The next attack that the boss will use that is pretty common is his multi-kick attack, and it's also baitable if you want to try and bait him to do it. I highly recommend that you practice parrying it because it does a lot of damage to his blue bar and will make the phase go by faster. You can bait the attack by strafing left and moving up and down towards the boss to try and get him to use it. To parry the multi-kick attack, wait until the boss starts the first part of the multi-kick combo and begin to walk up to him. Positioning is very important here, so watch closely how I position myself. Once you walk up, spam parry repeatedly until you block all of his attacks and then move back a bit to give yourself some space to read and parry his next attack. If you are too far from the boss and he triple kicks you, then the best way that I found to parry the attack is to wait until you see this part of his kicking animation when he's close enough to you for you to parry the attack. You must be on the left side or facing the center of the boss to parry the kick, because if you strafe too far right, then the timing might be different, so make sure you are positioned well. If the boss teleports away to summon his giant, use the Twin Blades addled mind ability to quickly catch up and stagger him to reset the boss. If for some reason you fail to do this, I will explain how to parry that part of the phase once I finish showing how the run should look like. If you're really close to the boss, he will try to punch combo you. You can actually parry both of his punch combos really easily if you back up so you have time to see that he's doing that attack, and then you just move forward and block the punches and dodge back again, because he can throw a third quick punch in there or a delayed punch, and he can get a little dangerous with combos if you keep staying too close to him. When you're done parrying his punch combos, back it up immediately and bait his kicking attacks instead. If you manage to completely stagger the boss, unleash your best attacks to do as much damage as possible before you take advantage of the extra damage from the special attack. Now that you know how to attack and defend yourself from the boss's basic attacks and the proper distance and positioning, I'm going to cut this part of the footage and show a new attack. The boss will sometimes use this attack where he clasps both of his hands together and moves his arms back, and then he will charge at you. The attack should flash red to give you a visual indicator of when he's about to connect. But do not press parry when you see the red flash, because you need to parry just slightly after you see it. As you can see in the frozen frame, I did not parry immediately when the attack flashes red. But once I unfreeze the video, that's when you'll see me parry, because it's slightly after the red flash. So watch closely. Now, as long as you follow everything that I said in the video here, then these are pretty much all of the attacks that you'll need to worry about. But if for some reason you do manage to trigger the boss to do his sandstorm attack, then here's how to deflect it. For the first sweep attack, you can safely move backwards to be out of range from the attack if you are not comfortable with the sweeping parry. But make sure you move forwards after it to parry the next two attacks. If you prefer to parry the sweeping attack, you can do this when his hand swipes at about this range here. To deflect the fist attack, wait until the fist slams the ground. You need to parry it very quickly because it's a tight parry. For the final part where he blows sand at you, wait until he starts to push his hands forward and then parry. I froze the frame so you can see when I am about to parry, so watch closely as I unfreeze it. At the start of phase 3, drinking the drunken poet and then using Meridian Touch will typically trigger this really quick attack combo that he does. You will know when the boss is using this attack because he will spin his daggers from back to front while his head is leaning down, and his left arm is pulled back. Once this part of the animation is complete, he'll begin to charge at you, so make sure you parry immediately when he charges and keep spamming the parry 2 more times. Now stop parrying for a short delay and then parry immediately when his body appears again, and keep spamming the parry button 2 more times, just like you did during the first part of the rapid assault. After this, he will appear one last time with a really slow attack, so you can just simply take your time to parry it, as it should be the easiest part to parry out of the entire combo. Since triggering this attack works nearly every single time at the beginning of this phase when you use the skills that I mentioned, I recommend to enter practice mode and change the starting phase to phase 3 and do nothing but practice this until you master how to deflect the rapid attack combo, because you can reset the fight after you succeed or fail to keep practicing until you are so comfortable with it that you know you'll be able to deflect it every time that it happens. And learning to deflect this attack is important because it does a lot of damage to his blue bar, and that will make getting through this phase so much easier and faster. Once the boss has finished his attack combo at the start, he will create some distance between you and the boss. If the boss attacks right away by teleporting to you, then he will do this attack where he tries to quickly stab you, so parry it. You can see his gold dust appear in front of you. That's how you know he's teleported to you. After the attack, dodge back so you can separate yourself from him and read his next attack in case he follows up with a combo. In my scenario, he ended up teleporting backwards and already created distance, which followed up with a new attack. When you see the boss lean like this, that means he's going to teleport once to the left side and once again to the right side. He will now be in this position where he's half crouching on one leg and one arm. He will then lower his head down to begin his charge at you. There's going to be a small delay after he lowers his head down, so you want to parry immediately after that small delay. You can also back up as far away from him as you can so that you have more time to read and parry him. Another attack that he might do that is very hard to counter is where he jumps straight at you to quickly slash you and follow that up with multiple combos. You can interrupt this by using the Twin Blades Addled Mind ability if you are close and fast enough to stagger him before he builds up too much points, or you can do what I did and use Meridian Touch. Keep in mind that Meridian Touch is less powerful at staggering compared to Add-on Mine, but in this part of the phase the boss is very easy to stagger because he leaves himself vulnerable a lot and typically doesn't build up much poise on his attacks. Remember what I said in phase 2 about moving left and keeping fairly close to the boss? Well, the same thing applies here for this entire fight, and here's why. The boss has an attack where he will spin and jump forward, slashing his dagger. When you see the boss doing this, start to move up and strafe left if you are positioned perfectly for the fight by remaining at around this distance from the boss, because now you're going to be close enough to deflect his next 2 attacks. So immediately spam the parry button twice and then dodge out of the way to gain distance. The boss will sometimes use this attack where he disappears 3 different times and then there's a pause before he teleports in front of you and attacks. So make sure you practice the parry timing on that pause. Once he attacks, there will be a short delay where he will start the kicking part of his combo. So pause your parry after the first attack and then immediately parry his 2 kicks without stopping and then proceed to dodge back to create some distance. As you continue to repeat this cycle of deflecting, dodging back, and interrupting certain attacks, you will be able to defeat the boss before he summons his clones. Or you can interrupt him before he has a chance to summon his clone by using either the Twin Blades Add-on Mine ability or Meridian Touch. Here's a clip of me interrupting the boss before he summons his clones by using Meridian Touch. The boss was never able to summon his clones at any point during my fight with him because of me interrupting him. Pay attention to the sound effect that happens when I use Meridian Touch there. That's the sound effect where the boss is normally about to summon his clones, but because I interrupted him, he got reset and started using his more common attack patterns again, which I was then able to finish the boss off and completed the run with no damage taken. Now that you've seen what it looks like when you successfully defeat the boss without triggering his clones, I'll show you what it looks like if the boss goes into his clone phase. The boss will float up into the air and you'll hear the same sound effect that was heard when I interrupted him. During this part of the phase, you'll need to deflect the boss when he appears in front of you to defeat one of his clones. The boss will always appear in front of the character's face during this phase, so you'll want to parry and try to perfect dodge the clones to get away from them, because if you do a successful perfect dodge, then you'll slow down the enemies, but you'll still be moving at a normal speed, which gives you time to get away from the attack. Once you trigger the perfect dodge, keep your distance to buy enough time for the boss to teleport in front of you and parry his attack. If the clones are rushing up to you, deflect and perfect dodge them again to get away from them. This is the most consistent way that I can figure out to get through this phase. That concludes the Tian Ying no damage guide, and I hope that you have learned something new from this guide. Thanks for watching.